mascara has grown, my bangs have grown, and my stamina for incredibly hard tasks have also grown. My throat is cracking. What is happening? Oh my god. Let's just get into it. I tried to do the joke and it did not work. Hey guys, so, not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous to be filming this one because it's been literally 7 months and this is actually my second attempt at filming this voiceover slash intro because I forgot to record on my actual Blue Yeti mic to make the sound bearable. A little bit of a new pothos because of moving with the marketing coordinator position. Yeah, that's a whole story we're gonna get into. I haven't been doing great. Without further ado, let's get into the setup and we'll go into what I've been up to, why I disappeared, how the whole marketing coordinator position went, and, you know, still is going, and some little extra surprise announcement at the very end of this video. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, of course, to start these new bullet journal videos, I always like to do an up-close review of how the book feels and looks, and the second half of this Parisian-themed launch from Notebook Therapy is definitely my favorite. The orange was like okay, but I'm not a huge fan of orange in general unless it's like for Halloween, but that's why I picked that half to be for October, because obviously birthday, Halloween works. But having a pastel purple version for the summer months is mwah. That was really weird. Now before we get into story time of what was supposed to be a temporary promotion, let's get into my thought process with this cover page. Now, I started with sketching out the year that this was gonna be, but obviously, I just realized I'm not 30. Mother. I hate getting older. Yeah, I'm literally on quarter life crisis part 3. This is getting ridiculous, but I got to use some of the other washi tape from this line, and it really worked well with the purples and pinks. While I finish the cover page and you can see all the self-explanatory ways of making it, let's get into the first half of my marketing coordinator story. As you guys knew from the last update, I would have to take a break filming videos because with the new hours being like outrageously early in my opinion, 8:30 to 4:30, I had to opt out of filming videos and to try to get some videos for the Leaf Factor, but that ultimately failed super hard. It is not just this channel that I didn't upload to for the past 7 months. Yikes. It was definitely the hardest career-based challenge I've ever had. Aside from YouTube, I've never really had anything more than just like an assistant manager role at a retail store. And to be honest, I never really wanted anything bigger than that. I didn't want to be caught in that retail trap of like, oh, this is like where you're gonna be permanently. And I knew the moment I like switched to like a full-time position in retail, like that would be way harder of a thing to say no to because money and just like complacency and all that jazz. I was used to having multiple different jobs that were like slightly higher than minimum wage, and when this position came up, I decided to take it because A, it would be something on my resume where I would never have to go back to retail again, and it was still mixed with like what I'm interested in with creating content and all that. It seemed like a no-brainer to me. But doing the actual job, holy shit. I have never struggled that hard. It started off with thinking that it was just gonna be like social media and like focusing on that part of marketing. Later did I realize that there was so much more that was involved, and Halloween and Christmas were insane. Having the expectation of you may be a marketing coordinator, but you have the responsibilities of a marketing manager felt like a lot, especially when it was just me being thrown into it with little to no training. My boss did what he could, but he also is not a marketing manager, right? Like he's a general manager of them all, so he only could teach me a certain amount of things, and it just kind of was like a lot of learn as you go, and sometimes that works really well for me, and sometimes it just makes me really stressed out. But I was still able to accomplish all of it and ultimately got a really good quarterly review. So that was just like a lot of fun, but a lot of work. And also having to work at guest services at the same time. So this wasn't just being the marketing coordinator, this was also having to be at the guest services desk half of those hours, and also making things, including like decor for our refurbished mall. So I was pushing like 40 to 60 hour weeks just to get all this stuff done. And I probably wouldn't have needed to put in that many extra hours if the guest services desk was able to like edit the content to push it out, but it wasn't. So I did a lot of stuff at home and it caused some severe burnout. But the part that really like threw me in for a loop was in the middle of October, he called a all-employee meeting, and those are never good. And he announced that the company that owned our mall was now selling the mall. As soon as he said that, I just like knew in my gut that typically when there is a buyout of a new company, the newest company tends to lay off people. And it's this weird middle ground where it's like you all essentially have to sign, even the people that they're keeping, you all have to sign a new contract basically being hired under a new company. But the moment you're considered a temporary worker and they already have all of the guest services spots filled up because they had to replace you, in my brain I was like, well, I'm not gonna have a job. So I was an extra little bit of panic mode. So it wasn't just like me being busy and having to do the stuff. It was this extra layer of, if I don't impress and show that I can like do this, then I'll have nothing to make them want to keep me. This is corporate, you know? Like, they speak in numbers, and if you don't come up with the numbers, they're not gonna keep you. We're gonna pause again and we're gonna move on to the next section of our book. So, moving on to our index/miscellaneous tasks to-do list. So, I haven't really needed one in like 2 years since I haven't really been doing more script writing in my books, but I think it's a good habit to just like keep it anyway. I also keep a got time section, which has decreased exponentially. I have actually been able to keep my New Year's resolution of finishing projects. One of my first bullet journal setup videos, I did my miscellaneous tasks sheet and it was like 2.5 pages long. And the fact that I can like scrunch it down now to like being in 3 different sections for like movies, TV shows, and actual miscellaneous stuff to do all on one page, man. You know what? I'm gonna take that win, as Casey Neistat said, no, wait, hold on. I'm just gonna put the clip here.
Someone who starts something and doesn't finish something, that is a loser. Someone who starts something and always finishes it, that is a closer.
A, B, C. A always be B, C closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
There's actually one other thing I want to show you guys. I haven't finished it yet, but I want to show you it so far because I'm actually like that excited about it. So like, give me just like 1 second. This is it. It's obviously not done, but I drew that. Hey, it's been like at least 2 weeks since I filmed that, and I'm still not done editing. And I genuinely thought that that painting was going to be done after I uploaded this. And then I decided to not edit this anymore and just focus on the painting because I was sick of it being on my to-do list for 4 years. So I have finally finished it. Ta-da! I'm very proud of this. I mixed together acrylics and watercolor, mostly watercolor. The eyes threw me off and I was super scared of them. I did them very, very last. And I wish I had the recording of the person I'm giving this to seeing it for the first time, but I didn't want to make him nervous, so I didn't record it. But he loves it, and I'm very happy about it, and this is finally off my to-do list. I'm happy. Magnum opus, people! Back to marketing coordinator. So, panic ensues. Am I gonna have a job in 2 months, or am I somehow gonna get rehired? Obviously, I did get rehired. But that was my thought process, and I was panicking. So, thankfully everyone stayed, including myself, except for one unfortunate lady. But I will leave that there. Even though I was offered a new contract, they gave me 1 month, but with nothing up saying that I would have a job after that as guest services. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'll have a job for 1 more month. Okay, good thing I've been saving my money. At that point, I had a couple months of emergency fund. It wasn't like the fully tapped one like Dave Ramsey suggests, but I was like, at least I have a couple months, and I still live with my parents, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be like completely screwed. But it still made me nervous. And then at the end of March, they extended me 1 more time to the end of April. And at that point, I was starting to feel like more frustrated. And then unfortunately, So I I got really frustrated, and I literally was prepping my plan to actually like leave completely, which made me sad but also like excited, because during all of this I was going through like a really intense creative burnout, and it started just turning into not just a creative burnout but just like a really deep rut, and I hadn't felt that so disconnected from myself and really sad since I got my blood clot. Wasn't quite to that huge level of sadness, but it was real close. It was to the point where like I didn't even get up and shower in the mornings. I would like shower at night just because I literally had to. I wasn't wearing makeup for months. I was wearing the same 5 thrifted grandpa sweaters and the same colored pants every freaking day. Like I was just so sad and burnt out that I couldn't even muster up the energy to edit after work, or even before work if I had like a 12 to 8 shift. And then I was also being told like you have to be 100% on at guest services for customer service, and like that made sense, but when I also had so much work to do that was marketing related, I was like, I literally can't do both. I keep getting interrupted even when I did have office time, and it just left me feeling like none of this matters, nothing I do matters. I'm gonna die one day and I'm stuck here, and there's not even like a progression anymore. They've cut off the possibility of having a marketing manager, so I just really felt like what is the point? And I started going to this thought process of I haven't uploaded to YouTube in 7 months, like, and that's where I felt the happiest creating on here, and yeah, so I was ready to quit and ride out the last month of April, and then not even like, I think it was like a day or two, I got approached by my boss telling me that the company wanted to extend me 1 more month. It wasn't even like they were giving me like 2 weeks notice in between like extending my contract. They would just extend it. But when they were planning on extending it again, without me having to sign as an agreement, mind you, because that's what happened the last time, it just left this bad taste in my mouth, feeling like, wow, I feel like I have no authority over my own life. It felt like I needed to have some kind of say to be like, do I even want to be the full-time person split between 2 different types of jobs anymore? Like, no one even asked me what I want here. I don't like that. I want to be part of this conversation when it has to do with like how I want to spend my time. Hey, Editing Lee here. Just to clarify that real quick, otherwise it's probably not going to make much sense. When the company took over, we all had 24 hours to sign their contract that they offered us, or we'd have no job. So there was literally like no real time to like, okay, I'm going to think about this or interview or anything like that, just to see what their expectations were of this position compared to the old company. And I didn't even get the full 24 hours because unfortunately, due to me having to travel to a different location that day for work, my boss accidentally forgot to tell me before I left that I had an offer and that I needed to make a decision on it. So I actually got my offer at 7 p.m. at night instead of that morning at 9:30 a.m. So I had even less than 24 hours, and I literally was told, if you do not sign this within 24, well, basically before the next morning, then I am going to be unemployed the next day. Like, it was that quick. So I had to agree to the term of just being there for 1 month, and then the continuous cycle of 1 month, 1 month. That's why I felt like I had no choice. Anyway, back to the video. This is gonna sound a little dramatic, but we're all gonna die one day. And that thought alone is what like drives me to actually do the goals and do the things, including moving to Japan. Like, the more I was at guest services specifically, not being able to do like really anything because it's really slow on that side of the mall too, and there's just not that much tasks to do as a guest services person. I was just sitting there for hours, and my screen time at one point even reached like 7 hours a day. That's just unacceptable. So all of that was in my thought process during making this mid-year reflect and refresh, and just realizing like I can't stay like this. I am letting myself get complacent, and I hate myself for this. I was really prepared to quit. I had written my resignation letter and everything, and I was like ready to hand it in. But then it's like the touch of God just appeared and was like, no, I have a new path for you, Lee. That's the path you want, but it's also a safer path, and you have to give it a go. And what that came out as was I follow this guy named Alex Hormozy.
I've been in business for 14 years. I have a portfolio of companies that last year did over $250 million in aggregate revenue.
I follow it a lot because it's mixed with like self-improvement and like getting off your ass and like doing the things you want to do. You know, don't take the safe route, and that's makes everyone else happy. Because that was like another aspect. I was thinking, this isn't making me happy, but like, how are my parents gonna react? How is my boss gonna react? Because he was the one that even like got this position created for me. I think I went into that in my last video, so you can click up there for the full story. But like, I was just thinking, I'm gonna disappoint so many people, and as a people pleaser, that made me have my skin crawl. I hated that. But Alex Hormozy, he said, is this decision going to result in a epic story? And I was like, yeah, it would. And then the comparison of either doing that or just staying at the safe job that has nowhere to go, and you'd be just sitting out there hours and hours of every day doing nothing, that didn't sit right with me. And I was like, I gotta risk disappointing people to be able to do this decision. And the video of his that made me think maybe I shouldn't just quit, he released a video on how to negotiate, and that could not have been better timing. I decided to negotiate a new contract, and it worked. First time trying to negotiate, I definitely didn't do it 100% as good as I was hoping I could, but when you're doing something for the first time, you gotta expect a mess up. but the final result still worked. I asked for part-time hours to still have my title as marketing coordinator, but no more guest services. His video really helped. I'll link it below if any of you guys need to learn negotiating tactics, but they basically agreed to all of my terms, and I'm still able to pay my bills. Yay, just saving money for my next big trip, which should be Italy. I am very excited for that one. I'm gonna be going with my parents. Yeah. Now I work 3 days a week as a marketing coordinator, and I don't have to be at guest services anymore. I had done everything I could to improve guest services, and it's only been a week and a half of switching to this, and I already feel so much better. That's the news. The biggest news I get, second biggest news. It's now time to go through our flip through, and then we will talk about the biggest news regarding this channel. Alright, so here is my final flip through of the second half of my year, being 31 years old. It's fine. Everything's fine. I love the colors, and I love still keeping the cats. The only one that I'm a little like iffy about was like how I did the index and got time page. I feel like it's a little bit like too blue with it, but I didn't have any purple sheets, so I just had to make do. And here's the rest of the half year reset. So just like the last time I did the half year reset, I wanted to be able to keep the look of it basically essentially like the beginning of it. So I was like, what's the point of literally filming the entire thing when it's like the same design throughout the rest of it? But damn, does that take a long time. And not gonna lie, it's a little harder to do when you're already in a depressed mode. It really makes you reevaluate yourself, and that is sometimes not the most fun feeling. But thanks to this reflect and refresh and all that, and looking back at the one I made a year ago just before the promotion, it really put into perspective my desire. Well, I mean, I already knew I wanted to be a YouTuber, but it just really like put it into a better perspective of like how much I truly want it. And I'm just excited, you know? I'm really excited to get into YouTube again. This is where I have to talk about a hard decision I had to make. I realized that I can't keep spreading myself so thin, and I have to choose one thing at a time to focus on. And I don't want to half-ass things anymore. So I will be going on a pretty long hiatus. I won't be doing bullet journaling videos anymore. This channel was definitely a really good stepping stone for me to be able to learn how to draw. It helped me learn how to use Premiere Pro better and experiment with editing, but honestly, I've gotten to the point where I'm just kind of bored of editing these videos, and I don't have the money to hire an editor. And I'm at the point with my bullet journal where I feel like I found a new format that really works well for me, that's much quicker for me to do, and not have to draw so much, because drawing really did take up a lot of time. I do really love bullet journaling still, and I just feel like it doesn't fulfill me creatively anymore to film content surrounding them. So with that, that's why I decided like I should retire this channel for a bit. And my full focus on YouTube will be on the Leaf Factor channel. That channel, if you are new here, is my main bread and butter. And I have over 100 videos filmed for that channel that has not been edited. So going back to my New Year's resolution of finishing things that I start, that is the biggest thing that I have not finished. And that is just like irking me so much. So if you like the vibe I bring, I can assure you you're really gonna like the stuff I put on the Leaf Factor. That being said, I'm not completely retiring Rocky Memories as a whole. Doing my bullet journaling videos will be stopping, but the content on Instagram won't be. That's my video. I hope you enjoyed the last bullet journal setup. Yeah, follow me on Instagram if you still want to see some more bullet journaling stuff. So, okay, I'm gonna stop because I literally don't know what else to say. I'm rambling now. Okay, so my main channel will be linked down below if you want to subscribe to that, and I will see you guys. I can't say soon. I'll just see you guys. Bye.